The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison, and Jess Navarez.
Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Nicole Hutchison alongside Jess Navarez. We're waiting for Aisha Morrison. She'll be here in just a moment. Y'all, it's cold outside.
It is cold outside. It is Halloween.
Hence, it is Halloween.
It is Halloween. That's why we are orange in here.
Yeah, I like the vibes.
Spooky. It's real spooky in this building right now.
It is spooky. Why you say that?
Just spooky. It's just spooky, guys. Spooky season.
Yeah.
Spooky feels.
Let's hope it's spooky on Sunday in the Cowboys' favor, you know? See what I did there?
I love that.
See what
for
I did
you.
there?
I'm rubbing off on you, and I really appreciate that.
Today has been obviously a long day of waiting, hoping that the Cowboys were going to make a trade. They ended up not doing so, but let's talk about some of these trades so far. Who kind of stood out to you? I know for me, it was that Chase Young trade, man.
Yeah.
That 49ers team, that defensive line is about to be freaking crazy. When you talk about it, let's just go ahead and list the guys on that defensive line.
Yeah, I was looking for my list of trades. I exited out of my app. Hold on.
Yeah, we got Nick Bosa, of course. Javon Hargrave, Randy Gregory, Chase Young, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw. What's up,
Hello.
girl? What's up? Sorry. Pharrell and Drake Jackson. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want no problems with that defensive line. I'm just saying.
Well,
I don't want no problems with
They're
them.
compensating.
hello.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Welcome.
The people is outside.
They are.
The people are.
It's cold
It's real
outside.
spooky.
The people are getting off early to take their children.
Yeah.
Bebe, that ramp on
Do
that.
the trick-or-treating.
That traffic on that ramp. Oh, jeez.
It was that bad?
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
Take your time. It's okay.
Take a breath.
Take a breath.
We're good.
No, I'm fine. I want to talk about it. Yeah,
Oh.
they compensating. They trying to figure things out over
They
there.
are. They are.
They got a lot. They have a lot going on over there. It ain't my problem. Listen. Do what you gotta do, boss. Do what you gotta do. They might need to be figuring out some other things, but
Like what?
it's me defensive. I mean, honestly, listening to a lot of 49ers folks and also Steve Wilkes, the new defensive coordinator, just getting a lot of flack with how they're playing defense right now and them trying to figure things out. But
Sure.
they got some issues on both sides of the ball right now. I mean, losing 3 games in a row in this league is rough, man, and it honestly is something. I don't even think they're number one in their division. So that's the thing about the trade deadline, man. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed about today, but then at the same token, a part of me is just like, most teams that are aggressive during the trade deadline, they feel like they have to fill holes. And I know the Cowboys, to us, there are things you want to improve on, but it's just like they just don't feel the need. And at this point in time, being here year 2, we can't want it more than they do.
Yeah.
So I'm just done putting in the energy and being frustrated about it because it just is what it is at this point. So,
But if you're okay, you said that you were disappointed about them not making a move.
Yeah.
If you're Jerry Jones, who are you going after? I'm gonna get to you in a second, Jess, because you had a good point earlier when we were. Okay.
I mean, I don't know if there's like a specific human I would go after, but I would say there are some positions like. I understand. I think I heard Jerry mention today, and we take everything he says with a grain of salt. Is that he said that he expects for the tight end position to pick up. It's gonna need to. If you really felt like this tight end room was enough, I think Ferg is. I know we're gonna talk about it later. Watching film on him and Dak, like you can really see that they're starting to gain a connection, but you're not getting really anything else from your tight end room. I wouldn't have mind to see maybe them bring in someone. It sounds like the Commanders is giving out people for $2. So we could have talked to them about something everybody else did. So it's just
$2 is crazy.
$2
$2 is crazy.
I mean, a lot of these guys that they're letting go are
$2 in a bag
first
of
round
chips.
picks. they're first round picks, and they're letting them go for day 3 picks. I mean, and I understand the Cowboys are in a tight spot just because of the amount of picks they have left this year, and et cetera, et cetera. But some of the picks that people gave up in drafts, I mean, and trades earlier before, these are like 2025 picks and stuff too. So I don't know, man. I'm really torn. I know Cowboys Nation is down just because of it, but it's, like I said, we can't want it more than they want it, and if they don't feel like it's necessary, it is what it is. As far as 49ers, like I said, they are really trying to figure out some things over there, especially defensively, because it's schematically, I think they've changed a lot, and they're trying to figure things out over there. So do what you got to do. Do what you got to do, boss.
Yeah, no, I see both sides of the situation here. I understand where the disappointment comes from with not making a move today, but I also, and as much as, fans want to rag on the sentiment of they believe in the personnel in the locker room, that's the truth. And look, at this point, you have to as well. You have to believe what you have. You don't have a choice now.
Right.
So yeah, look, although now it's a little too late to say, this needs work, this needs work. What you focus on now is, yes, nothing happened today, but how do you get where you need to go in these position groups that need help? Tight end specifically, yes, that's a position group that you knew losing Dalton Schultz in the offseason to the Texans was going to hurt a little bit. Whether you wanted to admit it or not, Dalton Schultz was a clutch guy for Dak Prescott to be that inseam threat, to be in the red zone, to be that kind of clutch tight end quarterback guy, that quarterback-friendly player, I should say, that Dalton Schultz was for him. Offensive line. You can never have enough depth there. You can never have enough depth there. Let's just say that over and over and over, because
proven depth too.
Yeah.
Proven depth is the difference,
and not young depth, because again, you have that already. So if you're going to add, you should add some veteran leadership, and we talked about that yesterday and how important that is. Cornerback, you can't have enough cornerback depth. I mean,
Linebacker room.
There's multiple rooms here in the building that could have used some additions,
some
right?
fortifying, some sprinkles.
However, I might be the bad guy for saying it. It didn't happen. Let's move on.
Yeah, shake it
It
off.
is what it is. Yeah. Shake it off.
Oh, dang it. I didn't even mean to say it.
I love it. No,
She's
but
rubbing
look,
off.
here's the thing. I love that for she
Me
said
too
something earlier.
I don't know what
What'd you
did
say?
I say? Today is today already.
No, you know what? My point is, let's move on.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. No need to dwell. Focus on who you got in the room and how they can get better, and they need to, period. If you want to continue to have a winning season, you need to improve on the things that have lost you games so far this season in embarrassing fashions, because it's not like the games that these teams have lost were set in stone that they were going to lose when they walked in. They had chances to win. Against the Cardinals, yes, you had a chance to win. Against the 49ers, you had a chance to win. But what was the downfall of those games? Really go back and look at it. Yeah, here's the thing. Time to move on. We can't dwell on it, guys. Can't dwell on it.
Let's go ahead and move on, ladies.
Moving on now.
Let's go ahead and move on. I know Jerry also talked about how a little bit of the status of Tyron and Chuma. He said that they should be available on Sunday. Just how big will that be? And I guess let's talk about this offensive line and the improvements that they made this past game, because I was looking at some of the film, and like the amount of times the pocket was so clean for Dak to make decisions was honestly impressive for me. So let's go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be frank about this offensive line right now, y'all. Listen, I do think that, at the beginning of the game, you saw some things you didn't want to see, and they came out and did some things towards you that were successful. But I will say, that the pass pro did shore up later on in that game. Terrence Steele is still trying to find, a rhythm, and we're all, of course, giving him grace just because he is coming back from ACL. Not only did he come back, he was very earlier than we expected. To his credit, he worked his tail off, but we're going to go through some growing pains with him. And so you're getting really attacked from your tackle position. And so pass pro, I thought, shored up as the game went on, but this run game right now. And I credit them for finding ways to run the ball this week, where they attacked the edges and they were like, okay, running up the A and B gaps not working. Let's try to figure out some things on the outside. Yep. But this offensive line is not playing strong enough for me. They are losing the line of scrimmage. a lot more than what you would expect from this offensive line. And I know that they can play with power. I know they can play with power. I know they can play downhill. We've seen them get to the second level and do things. But I'm looking for consistency from the offensive line. Because as you watch the film, you see they have about 4 or 5 plays where you just like, okay, all right, we're moving humans out the way. And then you see them in a couple plays later, and you just like, yo, what's going on here? And, you know, Mike McCarthy talked about, you know, the fact that a lot of teams are attacking them doing stunts. And I asked a question about that. Like, so that's communication and them gaining continuity. But right now, this game, it wasn't a continuity problem to me. It was just pure you not being able to handle the power that they're playing with. And to me, that's just mad unacceptable because I just feel like, especially the interior of this Dallas offensive line, Tyler Biotish, Tyler Smith, who had a fantastic game. He had a few hiccups, but I would love to hear Aaron Donald's comments on Tyler, especially with Tyler being so young. You don't see people play Aaron Donald that well. So. And then Zach Martin. So I just think this interior should be stronger than what they're playing right now. And I'm really hoping that they figure out some consistency there because you're about to go up against better defensive lines.
For sure. No,
you're about to see, I mean, better than the Chargers, better than the Rams. Like, no disrespect to
I just think this was a step in the right direction, right? Yeah, for sure. Because, you know, the last couple of games, we hadn't seen that. You're seeing everybody in Dak's face, you know, so they're getting outpowered up front. So it was good to see them make those improvements. Right? That's maybe what I should have started
No,
with.
you're right.
That's fair.
You're right. Yeah. No, you're right about the fact that the offensive line play did look better in this game, specifically in pass pro. Yeah. And again, with running the ball, plenty of times, even last year, we'd be like, no, that's not working. How many times did we say that?
Look, how many times did we say quit running the ball?
In between the tackles.
Well, in between the tackles, but 2nd and 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing.
Like 3rd and 10.
Yeah, this.
Like, seriously, it's here's the thing. You open Pandora's box. You know how I feel about this. Okay, so the thing. Everyone, get ready. No, it's not that big. I've said it before. The thing about the Cowboys' offensive line is you have the talent within the room to make sure that it does play at an elite level. The problem now is execution, is when you're executing throughout the entirety of the game, not just on 1 or 2 plays. It's unacceptable, regardless of how they bounce back. I think how they bounce back from the 3 sacks back to back on the Cowboys' first drive on Sunday, their bounce back is what defines them. The problem is you shouldn't have to bounce back that early from that deficit of your quarterback being sacked that much within an entirety of a game happening in the first minute of the game.
Yeah, both tackles got
That's
whooped.
not fair.
Yeah.
If you want to set Dak Prescott up for absolute success, that's not doing it. That's not going to cut it. And here's the thing. Credit to Chuma. He's been able to step in and do that. Credit to Terrence Steele for coming back. They have to play better and execute better. At the end of the day, they know that, and that's the thing. I feel comfortable saying that because they know that. They have to execute better. And again, what I was happy to see in terms of this line this week was the lack of penalties on them. So that tells me there is improvement there. The discipline's there. It's just when it comes down to it, my real question is, why is the execution not on a consistent level? Because the pass pro, like you said, Aisha, did get better, but why wasn't it better from the start, from the get-go? Why did it take so long to kind of get there? And it seems like it's just been so inconsistent. You can't fully say confidently that you know what this offensive line looks like. That's why when you asked yesterday, I said, you don't know yet, because we haven't seen a consistent Cowboys offensive line perform at a high level throughout the entirety of a game so far. However, glimpses of goodness Sunday.
Is it, I feel like we were saying this for the past 3 weeks, like kind of over and over again, but is it the lack of repetition? Like, I mean, what is it?
It's a mixture of I think it's a mixture of that, but I also do think it is a mixture of, I mean, you mentioned the execution. It is very fair to take into account that there's a new offensive line coach. And with Mike Solari, and again, the scheme is different in some of the things that they're doing. And Mike Solari has run 2 back sets. He has done those things. And so I'm really curious if it's a technique thing or if it's just something, if it's just a philosophy change, which is normal with coaching. But I've seen this offensive line play more powerful. We are, Tyler Biotish has been dinged up a lot of the season already, and Zach Martin has been dinged up a lot of the season already. So I wonder if that's playing a role in the power, because Tyler Smith looks the strongest out of anybody, and he hasn't really had any issues since the hamstring. So I want to say that possibly them being dinged up is playing a role in it, but I will say in counter to the run game, I will say that I am enjoying this pass game. Mike McCarthy and those guys saying we see favor in passing. We are not about to just keep trying to run just because it's for the sake of running. They passed on almost 30% on first down, over 30% on first down, which is huge because you just talked about it. Being in those 3rd and long or 2nd and 5s or whatever, passing on first down really helped them move the sticks, and it took away some of those negative yards that you don't want to see. Set your quarterback up for 3rd down. He's the best in the NFL on 3rd down. Like to throw that out there. And so an improvement there is, especially from last year in particular, saying, okay, run game's ain't got it all right now. Let's go ahead and just pass this rock around because we know we can.
My question for both of you, I guess, and I was thinking about this literally before I went to sleep last night, and I was like, I'm going to ask them that on the podcast tomorrow, is given that this has been a run-heavy team for years now, and your identity has always been the run when it comes to the offense, do you feel like there's kind of a shift in the wins now that you're becoming more identity-driven by the passing game, or is what you're seeing not really identifiable yet in what they are as a team?
I think.
Oh, no, go ahead, babe.
No, I think you don't have Ezekiel Elliott. Okay, so now you have to look at your personnel and figure out what works best with your personnel. And right now you have guys that are you have weapons, you know. So you have weapons in the passing game. So use it. Not saying, and that's no credit to Tony Pollard and Rico and all those guys, but right now your strength is your passing game, and I think it just depends on what type of personnel you have that can more so create your identity, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think it's not saying that the run game won't come together. It will eventually, because I know TP's working on really being that number 1 guy. So when that comes into play, then you'll see that kind of all mesh together.
Yeah. Yeah, with the West Coast system, though, the pass sets up the run. It's not the other way around.
There you go.
So that's why I was asking at the beginning of the season, like, where are the vertical threats? Because if you do the vertical threats, if you pass the ball, and you saw even even in this game, you saw that the run game started to open up, and I think that's because of the pass game. And honestly, I just feel like too, as far as the run game goes, a lot of running backs, especially even coming out this draft, the power running back, it barely exists in this league right now, because it's almost like if you look at a lot of the top running backs that came out of this past draft, they're not only runners that can run between the tackles, they are receiving threats as well. Yep. And so for me right now with the run game, it's like if your offensive line is struggling with power, then you figure out ways to get your running backs in space. You figure out how to make passes and things in the backfield. You could also use Kevontae Turpin out of the backfield. You can use CeeDee Lamb out of the backfield, which they did some of those things this past game because it wasn't nothing going in between the tackles. So for me, it's just like, if you can't run the ball the traditional way, figure out another way to do it. If your offensive line is struggling with that stuff, then you just figure out another way to do it, because it's just, at this point, I just don't know where the power of this interior is. So a lot of the schemes that they're used to doing is just not, it's not what's up right now. It's just not working.
All right, we're going to continue this conversation in the next break. We'll come right after the break. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating party of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be right back.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like Well, like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Salvation Army's 27th annual Red Kettle Kickoff returns to AT&T Stadium this Thanksgiving. Get excited to watch the one and only Dolly Parton rock the stage during halftime when your Dallas Cowboys go head-to-head with the Washington Commanders. Tune in at 3:30 p.m. on CBS.
You're excited about that?
I'm so excited about that. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Dolly's an icon.
Okay.
Dolly's an icon. They did, during the ACM Awards here at the Star, they had that Dolly Parton pop-up over here. Oh, my goodness. I was living my best life.
They had a Dolly
Parton pop-up, and it was like a little photo opportunity, and it was cool because it had all of her merch. Like, she's a real businesswoman with a lot of really cool things. So she has like a dog line, a perfume line.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be there if it was like a Chris Brown or like a Beyonce.
It's never gonna
be there.
It's not. It's gonna be a country singer every year.
Oh, it's the ACMs.
No, I'm talking
Country
about
Music Awards.
No, I'm talking about about Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Yeah, it is typically a country singer every time, which I can get jiggy too. But I wish it was just.
But I'm
sometimes
saying,
I wish there's some other things, but that's not it's not my business.
No, that's wrong because they had the Jonas Brothers. They're not country.
I mean,
Pop,
yeah, it's still a little
poppy.
Close to it.
Whatever. It's not close to it.
That's close
I
to
get
it.
the same vibe.
Oh, what?
I do get the same.
Just
vibe.
a group.
Cowboy hats and boots too.
They probably did have on some boots. Did they have some boots on?
Oh my
I don't know. We should go back and-
I don't mind the
I've
Jonas
seen them in
Brothers.
some
I
boots.
love the Jonas Brothers. Why y'all hating on the Jonas Brothers?
I liked them
Don't
when
they
I
sing,
was
I'm
12.
burning up, burning up.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, never mind. All right, well, that's enough.
Oh,
Sorry.
copyright?
Yep.
Oh, dang it.
Well,
Can't do
sorry.
nothing.
Well, the Jonas Brothers had a great halftime show that I thoroughly enjoyed. So there you go. And
All
I'm
right.
gonna enjoy Dolly Parton. There we go. Anyways,
All right, ladies, let's go ahead and keep this conversation going. I want to kind of turn things into a different path, this conversation. Let's talk about Dak. I know you're happy about that one. Let's talk about Dak. What are some things that stood out about his decision making and making some good reads and his play on
What stood
on
out to you?
Sunday?
You
Like,
was
what?
there. You seen it in the flesh.
I'm trying to think of how I word this, is what I really appreciated out of Dak's game on Sunday was his ability to keep his composure. So, right, I mean, you're coming out of the gates, you get sacked 3 times, one's nullified because of a penalty, but still, I think it was 4 times, then 1 got nullified. But regardless, he was getting touched, he was getting pressure put on him, and he still continued to drive the team down the field. The offense was going one place, they were going down the field. Something that really stood out to me was, again, this has been like a topic of conversation for the last few weeks, but his footwork. His feet were planted, his feet looked clean, he was doing his drop backs, he looked so clean. I mean, really, it was just... That's Dak Prescott playing at his best. And he's using his legs. He's not overdoing it, which is something I didn't want to see. Contrary to popular opinion, I don't want to see Dak running if he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to always be mobile. But he also used some opportunity to say, hey, you think I'm not going to run? Psych. And he used his legs as well. So I really think what you're seeing is a veteran quarterback, and Jerry Jones talked about this on The Fan this morning, a veteran quarterback with the skill set that he has, it's all coming together for him in the best way possible. And so I think, yeah, I agree in that sentiment that you're seeing everything good about Dak and Dak's game finally come together into fruition for the better of everybody on the offense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You mentioned his mechanics, and yeah, they were on point. They were on point, his footwork. And when you talk about, him running, is one thing about Dak that you always hear people saying is throw the ball away. Don't take that set.
Yeah.
And what you saw with him this game specifically is when he felt the pressure, he either got rid of the ball fast and took some hits in the pocket as he was delivering the ball. He had a great crosser to CeeDee Lamb that he delivered the ball right on time, and he took a hit at doing that. But also too, I mean, when he said it, he said, I'm in a rhythm. You can see that. Yep. You can just see that things are just clicking for him. And he's starting to really, there was a point in time, I know y'all remember since y'all watched football, when Peyton Manning was just on point with whatever receiver he was playing with, or Aaron Rodgers was just, it was like every week you expected for them to connect no matter who was guarding him, no matter what. And when you go back and look at this game and you look at some of the balls that he threw to CD, some of the balls he even threw low to Ferg, they're so connected that they're starting to just kind of finish each other's sentences, but football style. And it's really awesome to see them developing this chemistry. But as far as Dak Prescott goes, I also think, to your point, when we were talking about the offensive line, I think he truly understands where this offensive line is right now. And what he has to do to not only not make them look bad, but to also make sure that he can make this team still go forward, as you were saying. He understands that there's some communication things. Some guys are still trying to find their legs. You're having injuries to the left. He understands that. So the evading the blitzes and stuff like that. We talked about it yesterday. What he's doing at the line of scrimmage, the declaration, calling out the blitzes. That all helps the offensive line. But it also too, it really shows how much control he has over this offense right now. And so, to your point, mentioning Jerry, he's a veteran now, and we see that. He's doing veteran-esque things. And favorite part, last part, is the movement outside the pocket and inside the pocket. I know Mike McCarthy, he's had quarterbacks like an Aaron Rodgers that could do some amazing things out in the pocket, but boy, when he got outside that pocket, he was lethal. And I really enjoyed that. Mike McCarthy seems like he wants Dak to play that way, and we're seeing that because I think that's one of his best traits, is moving outside the pocket and making plays downfield.
Yeah, to both of you all's points, everything you all just said, but I think he's just like playing football, right? He's just playing. He's like, let me just ball, do what I do best. And I actually wrote down a couple of plays that stood out to me. I'll just say one of them. It was like the first minute in the game, first drive. It was the Jake Ferguson touchdown. They were playing 12 personnel. TP was actually, I believe, he was open on the right boundary. And Dak, he was making the read, looking at the safety. The safety's body was like turned towards Luke Schoonmaker, right? So he just sees Ferg, run past the linebacker. He says there's two high safeties, whatever, and then I'm gonna just trust my guy. I think that was something that I got that written down. Right? That was one of the plays that stood out to me the most, just because he's like, I'm taking my guys over any of y'all, you know? And I'm trusting my reads. Okay, this isn't working. All right, bet. Let me look. This isn't working. Bet. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I just like his decision making. It just was like,
and the confidence. He's confident.
And he's doing it quickly. That's the biggest thing, is you have to make these reads, and the mechanics of football is just so interesting when you really go back and look at how quick these decisions have to be made, especially for a quarterback in that situation. But, I mean, man, we always talk about the importance of getting your tight ends involved. There you go. That's why. And so when people are creating this narrative that, the tight ends, and yes, they need work. We're going to admit that. We'll always be the first to admit that when they do, but that Dak's not going to them because he doesn't trust them. That's not true. That's the furthest thing from the truth. Dak is going to their tight end meetings because he wants to, because he wants to make sure that there's no drop-off with that tight end room in that game. And most importantly, he said, I want to make sure these guys know that I still trust them and I have confidence in them. And so, heck yeah. Do you know how excited I was to see Fergie get that touchdown? I was like, yes. Go Ferg.
It's and to your point, there's I can't explain it. With tight end, there's it's just a feel that you look for. When you start watching them play, it's the angles that they take. It's just the way that they're fluid and everything. And so with Ferg, you're starting to see he really is starting to understand the position in totality, because tight end is a complicated position and asks you to do a lot. But as far as him and Dak connecting, you can. It's. I think to your point, Jess, I believe that that seal is broken. I truly believe that is his. He's realizing, like, I can depend on you consistently. And Ferg is catching everything, too. If I'm not mistaken, I think he has 2 drops on the season. He's been super efficient himself.
It's just the targets that have been lacking more than anything.
And we saw him get targeted more this game. And I'm like,
again,
keep doing it.
There's only one person that's been consistently targeted, and that's within the last couple of weeks, in CeeDee Lamb. There has not been ball distribution to say that it's something with specifically Jake Ferguson. So, I don't know. There's a big picture here when it comes to football, and I think sometimes we get caught up in the mix of all of it that we forget, like, the little mechanics and moving parts that go into making up, like, what you see on the field.
Yeah, what'd you like from CeeDee Lamb? That kind of is where I want to go.
TD Lamb?
I
loved what I saw from TD Lamb.
Yeah. Just like his growth, though, you know.
I'm so proud of him.
Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. So last year, obviously, was our first year covering the team, and we were here, and let's take a little fun trip back to when there was conversations about veteran players coming in here, and that you needed kind of a veteran guy in that room to kind of help CeeDee grow and establish into this wide receiver 1 role. And people were questioning, well, is he the wide receiver 1? Are you sure? And it's just so incredible to see a guy work his tail off to be what he is now in less than a year, because that wasn't even a full year ago. And he said, bet you want to take my name out of that conversation, you're going to be talking about it more than ever here in a while. He's taken every stride he needs to. During the offseason, I talked to one of his coaches that he worked with in the offseason, and it's funny because Craig told me, he said, you're going to see a different version of CeeDee. And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, I can't tell you too much, give you the secret sauce, you know? And it's funny now seeing where he is and just thinking back to that conversation, because it is a different version of CeeDee Lamb than what you're used to seeing. It's a fully confident version of him. It's a fully able version of him to do anything he wants to do, because he's put in that time. He's put in that work to make sure there's nonverbal cues that are just queued up with Dak Prescott. They can look at each other. They know what they're doing, and that's what CeeDee focused on throughout this whole offseason. And so, no, I'm really impressed with what he's been able to do. I think the best is still yet to come, which is scary if you're an opposing defense and you got to cover CeeDee at any point. Wouldn't be me. Not my. That's y'all's job. That's not my job. But good for CeeDee. I'm really proud of him, because a lot of people, and this just goes in life, right, is if you're in that position where you're being questioned, are you good enough? Are you good enough? Some people just break. Some people are like, I think I am, but I can't handle the pressure. He rose to the occasion. I'm really proud of him for that.
Yeah, I mean, no thanks to Richard Sherman and how he's been talking about CeeDee. I don't care. He's saying that he's not a number 1. I don't know what apparently a number 1 is not someone that can move across the formation and do what he needs to do. A little wrinkle in this offense this week. We got to see CeeDee Lamb at the X, and the X is typically on the weak side of the formation, the furthest away from the line of scrimmage. And just, I don't know if people understand how much it takes for a wide receiver to be able to do things in the slot, but then also move out there and be efficient as well. It takes a level of intellect and understanding and maturity to play this position, and that's why you see guys across the league that only run the X for other teams that are in the division. That's why you see that, because it takes a lot of fortitude and study to do that. But also too, I put it on Twitter today because I was trying to ask the wide receiver folks, because when I look at CeeDee, I can't describe it, and people always describe it as feel. And I know that y'all think that word is so funny, but it's feel, it's understanding of like, okay, this corner keeps sitting on my hip, coming out of my breaks. I'm gonna break the opposite way. Sometimes it's improvising in play, like in during the route is improvising and understanding. Smart. Yes, it takes maturity, but it also takes time to get that understanding. Okay, they're playing me soft right here. Yeah. I have more leverage here. I'm gonna sit in this zone. He's gotten far better at finding soft spots in zones. I just think his concentration is taking such a step up, because we saw those little mistakes last year and just some of the miscues. But I really feel like coming into, what is this, year 4 for him? He said, I'm getting old. Year 4 for him.
Dramatic.
Not even 30.
I know, right? Come on. But to your point about CeeDee Lamb, You can tell he's done the work in the offseason.
Yep.
You can tell he and Dax work together has helped as well. But credit to also Mike McCarthy and those guys for being like, if they can't stop our guy, we're not going to.
Yeah.
And so, with the ball distribution, you're still seeing him get the ball and do what he's doing. He's getting the ball at a high clip right now, but he's doing something with it every time, and I appreciate it. So,
But yet he's not a wide receiver one. What?
I don't know what his problem is. I don't know why Sherm got such a
Come on now,
problem
you
with
already know
him.
they throwing shade at the Cowboys.
Just let
all
me
day,
roll my eyes so
whoever
far
they
back
gotta
to my
come
head.
at, they gonna
like,
come at.
My eyes will get
number one.
stuck if I roll my eyes as much as I want to.
Yeah, please don't do that. We don't
Not a number one.
Trust me.
What is a number one? So, yeah, those are the things that I feel like he's really improved on. And in turn, it's opening up things for the other guys as well. Because if you're not bracketing CD, you crazy. if you not doing something to help somebody out over there, you crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at with him.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take a second break. We'll be right back. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
That part of the song. All right. Head to the Pro Shop at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas on Saturday, November 4th for the final stop of the 2023 Cowboys Collections on Tour. See rare team archives, customized headwear, grab a gift with purchase, and enter for a chance to win a giveaway. Sounds fun.
All right. We only have a few minutes. I'm sorry. I kind of let us go over a little bit.
It's my fault. I got
No, it's
talky.
okay.
I got
Yeah,
talky.
it's all right. My bad, y'all.
No, you know what? We get lost in the conversation.
We do.
It's fine.
But it's fun, though.
At least it's
combo.
good conversation.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Right? All right, let's talk a little quick about who on this defense. Of course, we talk about. Get so happy. We talked about Marquise Bell. We talked about Deron Bland. Who outside of those guys is your defensive spotlight from Sunday's win over the Rams?
DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence, tank.
Okay.
There's a lot of juice left in that man's tank. He is so interesting because he always talks about, he does, and he's been open and honest since the start of the season with us in the locker room about how he feels his age. And you talked about this yesterday. You don't see it.
Sure don't.
You don't see it. Man is just nonstop play to play to play. He's such a leader for this line, for everybody around him, and something that never gets old is seeing him hype everybody up in that pregame huddle. That never gets old. He's such a staple player that I think has become so consistent in his game. You forget how good he is.
That's so fair.
And yeah, Tank. I'm gonna give some Tank love today because I just feel like he deserves it.
I'm gonna go Damone Clark, man. I think that he's like one of those guys that like you don't really hear his name too much like you should hear his name, especially having to really take that and fill that role in for Leighton. I think that I don't know. He's just really started to like impose his will on that defense. I don't know. I've just been impressed with him the last couple of games, and I think he talked about in the locker room. I think that was last week before the bye week, and just about how like he understands he's still young. You know, it's his second year, so he's like, I still have a lot of room to grow. I have a lot more learning to do, and if I knew everything, I wouldn't be here, right? So he understands that he still has a lot more room to grow, and that. I don't know. I've just been impressed from that guy.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Shout out to D. Clark.
Well, I mean, it's a trickle-down effect.
Yeah.
I'm struggling because I wanted to give credit to the secondary as a whole. Because it's, the way that Sean McVay does things, it's not just Deron Bland on Puka Nacua. It's not just Deron Bland on... He's going to find favorable matchups up and through there, and the fact that they were able to limit those guys the way they did. But I do believe that this Cowboys interior defensive line needs some credit. Also, Digizua, Jonathan Hankins, Chauncey Golston, those gentlemen... Mozzie Smith got in there, made some plays. This interior allows the exterior of the defensive line to play a lot more free. Yeah. It allows them to do a lot of the things that they want to do, not only pass rushing wise. This team is slowly but surely becoming so much better against the run. I know that that's something that we're really nervous about coming to this season. Cardinals game happened, sure. Yes, it did. 49ers didn't run all over you, though. They didn't run all over you. So this run defense, at this point in the season, is improved from last year, and I really believe a lot of that has to do with Jonathan Hankins, also Digizua taking a step forward. You got Chauncey Golston in there playing some snaps, and Mozzie also being in the middle as well. Yeah. So the interior of this defensive line, I'm gonna give them their flowers, and we gonna need them to play well this upcoming week because somebody likes to slip in between the A and B gap and run. So yeah.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this week's. Oh,
I hope not, because we got Philly fans.
I was like, girl, we haven't even started this week.
Today is today.
I'm tired.
It feels more like a Monday than a Tuesday.
I don't know what it feels like.
Weird today.
It's the weather. It's the
actually
weather.
Nice outside, though.
It's nice, but it's just cold. That's why I got this coat on.
It's spooky.
It's cold outside. I don't play that.
Baby got her jacket on like we in high school again. She is cold. She's like, I'm not playing. You know how I was in high school.
I know.
When you would wear it everywhere.
I'm not playing. Like, it's too cold outside.
I understand.
Well, it's spooky season. So
it is.
There you go.
Happy Halloween,
yes,
ladies and gentlemen.
Be safe.
That'll do it for tonight's episode.
Oh, what are we dressing up as?
I'm not dressing up.
I already did my costume.
I'll tell you what I'm dressing up as. A woman that works in sports and has to work.
Hello.
So there you go.
Boom. Yeah.
I
like that one.
It's
oh goodness.
All right. Jazz. Jazz did Steve Harvey, ladies and gentlemen.
Cannot wait to see it.
Wait, come out and no. Well, all right. That'll do it for today's episode of Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. See y'all tomorrow.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!